glad to be out there and part of it all after everything that went on in terms of getting out there or not getting out there for the test matches. Did you just talk us through what happened there and how frustrating that must have been for you?
Yeah, really nice to be back in India. Obviously, a great place to play cricket. But I think obviously I left Sri Lanka, had a break, and it was nice to get home and see family and loved ones. But yeah, like you said, there was a bit of logistical issues getting out to India with all the travel and that kind of thing. So it extended my break a little bit. But yeah, really excited to be in India again. So yeah, all good.
There's been a lot of talk, of course, about that rotation policy and you coming home before going back out again. England's saying it's something that they're going to stick with. So as a player who's been rotated, do you feel it's of benefit to you? And if so, what are the benefits?
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of stuff spoken about in terms of that rotation, hasn't there? So I think as a player, it's been, personally, I found very beneficial. The bubbles are really tough from a player's perspective. Being away for long periods, and it is nice. I'm kind of coming back after my break. I do feel really refreshed and raring to go for this White Ball series. I think it's going to be a great series, and like you said, there's been various players who have had the breaks. So I'm sure guys might say similar things. So I think everyone reacts to the bubbles in very different ways, but and that's why I think ECB have been good to us as players to allow us to get out and come back. And I think it's about keeping us mentally, physically, and fresh in that aspect. So hopefully it does benefit us, and I've certainly appreciate the break that I was given.
Can there be a downside too, in that player might be in decent form, have some rhythm going, and then all of a sudden, they're pulled out for a bit and maybe have to rediscover that once they join up with the party again?
Yeah, I guess in a way you could say that, but I think it's more that, I guess, that burnout in terms of you're looking at the long term, what we've got coming up in terms of the T20 World Cup, the Ashes, the big India summer when they come in the summer. So, and obviously the New Zealand test now. So I think it's a really busy period, and I think England are just trying to make sure they get it right. And I guess in the long term, and make sure we are playing a lot of cricket, but at the same time, not making sure we aren't burning out.
These T20s coming up now, and the focus very much for England this year is on that T20 World Cup. Is it fair to say that these T20s are as important as any test that's being played this year, certainly up until that T20 World Cup?
I'd say, anytime England go out there, it's always going to be an important game. You obviously saw that test series was really competitive. Having I watched it, it was great to watch. It was obviously a fantastic series, but unfortunately England did lose. But I think, again, with the T20s coming up, it is a World Cup year, so there's going to be a lot of emphasis on us doing really well, especially being in India now. The World Cup's going to be here as well in October time, so that's really exciting for us as players. But no, I don't think I think personally, anytime as a player you go out and play for England, and the teams that they're putting out is always going to be going out there to win. So I think it's really exciting. It's going to be a fascinating series, I think. So yeah, the boys are really excited.
And just finally from me, because you weren't involved in those test matches, is there a benefit that you're coming in fresh and you might not have been scarred by those last couple of heavy defeats? And in terms of the party that you just joined up with, do you sense that people have taken a bit of a blow from the nature of those test defeats?
Well, to be honest, there's a lot of players that didn't play in the test stuff that are playing in the T20 series. So that's going to that might be beneficial in a way, I guess you could say. But most of the players will do, you move on pretty quickly and focus on what's ahead and try and improve. So I think come Friday, the team that goes out there is going to be ready and really excited to play against a really good Indian outfit. So I think it's going to be a great series to play, and I'm sure you guys watching will enjoy it as well.
Thank you. Cheers.
John Etheridge, please.
Sam, hi. Could I just confirm you came on the sort of the white ball shuttle, if you want to call it that, on February the 26th? Is that right?
Yeah.
So how many days did you quarantine before you were actually able to get out?
We had a week in our rooms, so yeah, I don't know what that works out. But yeah, basically a week in our rooms. Yeah, 5th of March, I think we came out.
Right. So you've been training for a couple of days really since quarantine.
Yeah, we've had a few days training. Yeah.
And the fact that it appears to be pretty much full strength T20 squad. I mean, there's obviously there's rotation during the Test series, but the squad for these 5 T20s is pretty much full strength, isn't it? Is that an indication of how seriously you're taking T20 cricket this year?
Well, I guess it's probably worked out like that in terms of the side that's playing in this T20 series is obviously going to be a really strong side. So I think that's going to be, I guess, the way moving forward with so much cricket and all these bubbles. I think England have made it very clear they don't want to burn out their players. We're going to keep trying to come up fresh and mentally prepared and stop that burnout, I guess. So I think it's obviously a World Cup year, to be honest. So I think it's obviously going to be a stage where that is a priority in a way, but then again, the Ashes are straight after that. So I think any team that plays is going to try and go out there and win and put places up for grabs. So I think it's a really exciting time, yeah.
And your sort of personal aims in this T20 series would be what?
Well, I guess anytime you go out there and play, it's going to be a great opportunity to try and help contribute to wins, bat, ball, and in the field. So I think that's the way I play my cricket. I'm really competitive, and if I do get the nod on Friday, I'll definitely go out there and give it my best and hopefully contribute, because it's a pretty amazing stadium. It's the first time most of us here have seen it, and to be honest, it's really cool. So it's a great place to play T20 cricket.
Yeah, and I guess the ultimate aim would be to force your way into the World Cup squad.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm not someone who looks too far ahead, but I think one game at a time, and hopefully I can put in some performances and be in that squad that comes to India for the World Cup. Yeah.
And do you think it's feasible to be an England player in all 3 formats, bearing in mind COVID, bubbles, just the sheer volume of cricket? Do you think it's feasible to play all 3 formats for England still?
Yeah, definitely. I think any player wants to play all 3 formats for England. That's the goal, and that's my goal. But I guess that's what we're doing at the moment, that we're managing different workloads, and it just appears that the guys that play all 3 formats are, I guess, finding it the most challenging. So I guess hopefully COVID and vaccines and bubbles end soon, and hopefully the vaccine and we get crowds in the summer. I guess that will be the way we stop being in these bubbles. But I think whilst the bubbles are around, it's going to be tricky, and yeah, we're just going to take each series at a time, I guess.
Good.
Will McPherson, please.
Hi, Sam. You're in India now for, I guess, about 3 months until the end of the IPL, and that there's a lot of white ball cricket to be played in that time. I suppose more than 20 games. How important do you see this period in terms of your development as a T20 cricketer, particularly in these conditions, given the location of some important tournaments this year, but also the 23 ODI World Cup, I suppose, as well?
Yeah, it's obviously I've actually managed to come to India a few times now, so I'm really excited. Obviously, as you said, there's a big section of white ball cricket coming out now, so it's an exciting time. I love playing in the white ball format, and it'll be about trying to just put in performances, improve my game in all different conditions. As you said, it's going to be a good period out here, so it's going to be a great time for me to learn, keep progressing my game and putting in performances that can help England win some games. So really excited for that, and really excited for what's ahead.
With Chennai, you sort of seem to do quite a lot of different jobs at different times of the last IPL. Is that something you're going to be sort of reminding Owen of, and kind of your flexibility and with many different hats you can wear, I suppose, as an all-rounder?
Yeah, like I said, anytime if you in the team, or if I do play on Friday, I think it's great to be in the team, and whatever the role given to me by the coach and captain will be, I'll try and go out and do my best. And that's what I pride myself on. I feel like can adjust to different situations. So wherever I bat, wherever I bowl and things like that, I'll be trying to go out there and just show my skills in what different areas of my game. So it's come Friday, hopefully I'm in the team, and it'll be a great opportunity for me to try and cement a team in this 11 for the T20s.
Alan Gardner, please.
Hi, Sam. On the subject of kind of rest and rotation and workloads and all that sort of thing, some people will look at playing sort of 2 IPLs in almost 6 months and say, well, couldn't some rest be taken there? But how important from your perspective is playing in a competition like that for the development of your T20 game, particularly in a World Cup year?
Yeah, I think I've actually said it before in probably last few months. Is I definitely felt I came back a much better player from the IPL last year in Dubai. As Will said, there I did various roles and got challenged in many different ways, which I really enjoyed, and I think has benefited my game. It's a fantastic tournament. Us players love playing in it. It's great crowds. India is an amazing place to play cricket, and it's the best T20 comp around. So it's great as a player to be playing in that. I think, especially with that T20 World Cup in India. It's going to be great preparation, great for us to keep developing in these conditions. So, yeah, really looking forward to it.
I mean, are there specific kind of skills and moments under pressure that you can call upon that, you know, in future when playing for England that come from IPL experience?
Well, yeah, definitely. I think you're playing against such quality opposition, such quality international players at these tournaments, and there's nothing better than game time and playing in games where you under pressure and pressure moments, big crowds under pressure, different roles, chasing targets, trying to defend targets. It's great. It's a great tournament. You love winning. So that's the way I play. And I think in the IPL, it's a very competitive tournament. So there's definitely things I've learned, I guess, in the IPL that I'm going to hopefully bring into the England setup. But then again, I learned things in the England setup that I can bring into the IPL. So yeah, I think they both complement each other, and I think it's a really exciting time.
Cheers.
Dean Wilson, please.
Yeah, hi Sam. There's a couple of things. A question was asked of Chris Silverwood about the sort of the reasons behind rest and rotation, and how for some players it was more of a kind of call from home, from families, for players to go back as much as getting a break from the bubble. I just wondered, from your point of view, what was your main reason for having your break?
Well, I think at the start of, when was it? I reckon after the South Africa tour, early or December time, Ed and Spoon sat down with me personally. I'm sure they did the same at a few of the other players about what it looks like ahead. The schedule was in place early, and for me, in advance what I was doing. So I was always leaving after Sri Lanka. So there was no real problems with that. I think the task of probably, if I flew out to Sri Lanka and came, played all 4 tests and did the IPL, then straight into the summer, I guess that's probably going to be 5 months straight in a bubble. And I think players have to get out. It's a very tough environment that the bubbles are. And yes, everyone, it's got its pros, obviously, but at the same time, you got to find that balance where I personally felt it was great for me to get out, and I feel coming here, I feel in a good mindset and really refreshed. And I think that's a great word, is about being fresh and mentally in a good place to come into these games. Whereas if you, I guess, in these bubbles for so long, you don't feel like you may be getting away as much as you should, which in normal life you do. So I guess it's England are focusing on that, is about finding the right balance of, yes, it's going to be obviously pros and cons, like there's always going to be. But I think at the moment it's taking a series, and I personally feel in a good space for it.
And I just wondered whether or not you felt it odd that as a player with a red ball contract designed for people who are going to play the majority of test matches, that you would end up missing red ball cricket but be available for white ball cricket, for which you don't have a central contract. Yeah,
I guess you can look at it like that, but at the same time, I have been playing all 3 formats. So it's about, at that time, that's what we felt best was for me, is about missing those. Originally, I was probably only missed the first couple, and it worked out that I didn't. So I guess it's things happen in COVID times very differently. So I think I don't look too much into that. I guess it's about just trying to play as many games as I can for England. And I just love playing cricket. So I guess like it's bubble time, it's very different, and there's always going to be different theories and different opinions. But I think for me personally, I feel in a good space at how it's been handled, and really looking forward to my cricket coming up.
And just a final thought, apologies if this has been asked, but if you were told that you were going to have to miss some Ashes Test cricket in next winter for a rest and fly home, would you be happy to do that?
Well, I think it's a very long time away. Any player's dream is to play in the Ashes. So I think who knows where the world's going to be and whenever the Ashes end of this year is. So I think I think England have made it very clear they're trying to take series at a time and just trying to speak with players, speak with coaching staff, see how they are. So I haven't looked that far ahead, but obviously the pinnacle, I guess, is playing in an Ashes series down under, which I'm sure most of us players would say and of dream of being on that plane. Yeah.
Thanks, Sam.
Cheers.
Just finally then, Chris Stocks, please.
Hi, Sam. There's an extremely tight turnaround between the end of the IPL and that first Test series of the summer against New Zealand. Just wondered from your point of view, if possible, would you be keen to play in that New Zealand series, or is it unrealistic, do you think, for you guys who are involved in the IPL to go straight into an English summer?
Yeah, well, to be honest, only yesterday the IPL dates came out. So I think it's obviously any time there's the England games early on in the summer, you do obviously want to play in them. But obviously, if we see how that IPL tournament pans out, if you miss the qualifications, I presume you'll be most likely be available for those tests. And if you in the IPL might be a bit in the final, it might be a bit different. So I think it's still quite a way away. And I think it's going to be, no one really knows how it's going to all pan out. So yeah, fingers crossed. I don't really know because it's quite a long way away, and see how the IPL goes, I guess.
And just in terms of Test cricket this summer, given it's a lead up to an Ashes series, I'm assuming you want to play as many tests as possible.
Yes, definitely. I think obviously those New Zealand tests have just come into the calendar recently. So it's obviously a lot of Test cricket. Then we got those games against India as well, which will be another fascinating series. So I think any Test cricket in England, with hopefully in front of some home crowds, will be really, really nice. So got some good memories from my India series in 2018. So really excited for the Indian team to come over. But yeah, so fingers crossed I'm in those squads and hopefully playing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.